So yes, today we will be introducing a team that I am very excited to bring to you because, of course, it is Edward Gaming, who are, of course, from China and won the East Asian LCQ. That is how they got to champs. But this is very exciting because, of course, this is the first Chinese team that has made it to an international event. It's the first time Chinese teams have been allowed to try and qualify for an international event, and they made it on the first time of asking with Edward Gaming. And obviously at Masters 1 and 2, they weren't present because they couldn't qualify. But their expectation, well, I've put their winners, as you can see. Everyone else is merely playing for second place, of course, because, you know, Edward Gaming and Edward in particular, it's just too good. Too good for everyone else. Everyone else, you know, might as well not turn up. You know, everyone is playing for second place. Their style, more seriously, is a kind of, you know, fundies plus joy is what I've put. Fundies as in fundamentals. They're very good at trading, and mechanical skill-wise, they are insanely good. Like, insanely good. So, you know, they're not going to be out-aimed or anything like that, I don't think. Maybe a bit of nerves early on might get them that, but for the most part, I don't think most teams will be out-aiming them if they are going to beat Edward Gaming. And I put joy there as well, because they play pretty aggressive. And so it leads, you know, with the combined nature of their aggressiveness and their skill, it leads to some fun moments and some fun games and fun matches to watch. And so, yeah, they are a joy to watch a lot of the time. And you can't beat Edward. It's just as simple as that. In terms of the members of their team, we have Haodong, who is the IGL, who interestingly plays Neon on Fracture, which, you know, I'm kind of interested because I didn't actually know he was the IGL but before that when I was watching them on Fracture. So I'm kind of interested to see how he's calling on Neon, because that's kind of a bit of a weird thing that you don't normally see. You obviously have Kankan. His actual in-game name is ZimJJKK, the KK standing for Kankan. Obviously, the first part of his name being a reference to his brother, who he wanted to try and emulate, who's a player in CS. Nobody, Life, and QQ. And QQ is the main Smokers player, as you can see. And I mean, if you take a look at their stats as well, some of them have ridiculous cast numbers. Nobody in QQ's cast numbers are out of this world, like insane. I have no idea. Even though they kind of dominated a lot of their games, still 83% is still an unbelievable number. Even if you are winning every single map, that is still extremely high. And so yeah, I mean, look for Kankan obviously playing a lot of the chamber as well to, you know, kind of be the main fragging potential of the team. But honestly, all of them are insanely cracked, and sometimes they just take turns in terms of who wants to win a round. And so now let's dive into some clips, and we'll take a look at Haven, which was played between Onslayers and Edward Gaming in the East Asian LCQ final. And let's take a look at some of these clips. So Onslayers are on the attack, Edward Gaming are defending here, but we're going to see, I think, one, you know, all of their players are pretty mechanically skilled, and two, that kind of teamwork nature that they have. So Onslayers are going to start here towards A. They send some pressure there, and we actually get a Fade Horn in response that they do manage to avoid because of this. You can see they put a smoke there. We've already seen a Boombot come down here as well. And actually what happens is QQ starts to explore a bit towards C, so they, you know, not hearing anything here, perhaps, you know, that does start to see a bit more of an A lean. As you can see, the chamber starts coming across, the Jet's kind of thinking about it as well. You know, they start to perhaps prepare a bit because here it is just Nobody kind of, you know, on his own here, and you can see he's kind of checking both sides because there isn't much for him, maybe taking a bit more of a retake setup here. He has a Frenzy in towards short, but after, you know, a bit of time passes and Onslayers eventually do decide to make the move. As you see, QQ is pushed up on C, so that means that, you know, the rotates do start to sort of fully come in as he doesn't see anything or hear anything there, and he actually probably hears the chamber trap. We're going to get an aftershock down here from the side of Onslayers towards this little area here, and now here's the crucial part. A Fade Prowler just went in here and it's hit Nobody, right? But straight away, what's going to happen is that Haodong, who is, by this box, is going to sprint over straight away as soon as that happens, and he's going to help his teammate, because after that Fade Prowler hits him, Echo here is going to send out the Fade Seas, and obviously nobody's in a lot of trouble, but Haodong has already made that decision. He's already across, he's already there, ready to save his teammate, and he actually gets 2 kills. And this is the thing, Haodong, in terms of the stats, in terms of ACS and things like that, being the IGL, he does tend to be towards the bottom of those stats, but even he is insanely skilled. And I mean, right there, 2 little taps of his ghost, 2 kills straight away. And now we're going to see as well, as life does get traded from the players in long, I love the way that he plays this as well. He sends a stun out towards just here, you can see it, and then he's going to flash as well, and the flash is perfectly timed here for Kankang to, come and try and aggress from the other side. So whilst all the attention is here and they know that there's 2 players here, we've also got a Fade Haunt to make sure no one's wrapping around behind them as well. You see all of the utility is really good. We're going to get a flash in here. All of the players are going to be looking towards this breach, and then Kankan is just going to come in and mop up from the other side. There you go, right? Really, really nice overall. They get those 2 kills, and nobody finished off the last one as well, and they get a nice round win. But now let's take a look at some of the bad, and I think that, anyone who's watched Edward Gaming enough will know that they do have this tendency to perhaps overheat in certain moments, right? Maybe get a bit aggressive when they shouldn't necessarily need to, and perhaps be a bit over aggressive. So you see they come in onto the C site, the chamber TPs away, they get the site, all is well, right? And so far so good on this attacking pistol, this time on Haven. And what is going to happen here is we're going to get a flank you're about to see here from the Raze and the Omen. Kankan actually manages to kill the chamber as well. We get a really nice flash as they expect this flank. We get 1 kill. We actually get a 2nd kill from nobody there as well. We end up in a 5v2. They're going to lose this 5v2, okay? So, we're in a 2v1 here, and to be fair, this is just this first kill. Bazzi managed to get it. Haodong does try and trade it, but some good movement by Bazzi, getting out of the way of that right click. He actually manages to get a 2nd, but still, even after we've missed that 2v1, we're still in a 3v2, but we're going to see that they don't play this great, right? They know obviously the Raze is here. These 3 guys are now in on site, and so essentially, if they just go together, really anywhere, they could come down here, they could go through garage, they could push spawn. If they go together on any of these directions, they probably win the round. But they don't. They instead decide to just send QQ down here towards Bazzi, so he's going to end up in a 1v1, and the other 2 just sit snug on the site instead. So QQ does end up in that 1v1, and guess what's going to happen? That happens. Bazzi wins the fight, okay? And so now, whilst that's gone on as well, these 2 seem to have kind of, maybe lost a bit of what's really going on. The breaches come out onto site, and now we're in this 2v2, but now you see that the positions aren't great, right? They still have to worry about Bazzi coming from the other side at some point, but actually, Estrella just wins that fight, and then they manage to kill Life as well. We were in a 5v2, we've ended up in a 2v0, and, sometimes these moments can happen to EDG. However, one thing that I thought was a big positive for them as well was this round number 17, because it wasn't going too great for EDG, and they hadn't lost a map, at this point, and they ended up not losing a map in the East Asian LCQ. But, this was, getting pretty close, right? It was 9-7. They were backs against the wall. They were on a save as well, right? So things aren't looking too good, and their coach calls a timeout, and he gives them a round, I think, that, really helped propel them to go on and win this map. And that to me is a very good sign, that clearly they have the coaching staff behind them as well that, can chip in with timeouts and, try and, turn the tides of a game. And that's what happens here. Because what's going to happen is they're going to come up with a pretty cool idea. They have jet knives, right? So they're on a save, but they do have jet knives, right? So that's kind of what you want to be getting that kill. So what happens is we send a smoke in B. The jet smoke's here. We get a Fade Haunt towards the back of B. The jet is actually going to come into the other smoke, dash in down here, whilst we're doing a C split, right? So these guys are coming in here. This guy's coming in here, and the jet's coming in here. Obviously, if there was someone in garage, they're in a lot of trouble. Even if they get this first kill, this jet is probably going to come behind them and get a kill as well. And so these players on C are in a lot of trouble, but these guys, probably are still thinking that it might actually be a B hit, considering, they've been smoked off both sides. So what happens here is the jet goes through and meets the chamber and manages to get the kill. So Life gets the first kill, and obviously now this Omen is just in a terrible spot because, there's people coming from all 3 directions. So, it's pretty much impossible for this Omen, and Haodong does manage to just headshot him anyway. And so we end up in a 5v3, and then this I thought was quite good as well, right? Life sticks around, he gets another free kill as well. We end up in a 4v2. They do trade it out, but still, 4v2. Very, very good. We get the spike down, and this is the difference, right? In this round, we aren't going to see an overheat. Kankan here is eventually going to see someone, but he teleports straight away, right? He gets the info that 2 people are there. They are pretty good at this point. They still don't have the great weapons, but now you can see we're setting up for a breach ult. But you see, again, patient here from nobody. He actually managed to find the timing to sneak around. He manages to get one. Bazzi ends up in a 3v1, and this will be won by EDG. And you see that this was a really nice round, right? They lent on the strengths of their game plan. Basically, we're just going to set up our Jet to be in a 1v1. If the Jet wins that 1v1, you know, we can win pretty easily. If we lose it, it was a save. You know, that was our best chance. Anyway, I really, really like the approach here from them in this round, and you see that it worked very well. When it comes to the maps that I like, it's actually pretty difficult because they played a lot of Bind and Fracture in the East Asia LCQ, but not too much else. And obviously there isn't too many other official tournaments to actually take a look at from EDG, so I didn't really know what to include. I just included a couple games from the most recent tournament that they played in China. But other than that, yeah, there isn't much to say. They're pretty good at Bind. They're very good at Fracture, as you can see by the round wins as well. But that's pretty much all we can really say at this point. It's very difficult to know what maps they will be very good on or, you know, a bit weaker on. When it comes to their agents, though, they definitely do have some favorites, and it's a bit different to most other teams. So when it comes to the controllers, when it's Astrabim and Omen, I wouldn't read into this too much because it is going to be somewhat map dependent, and they did play a lot of Bind and Fracture. But they don't like Viper as much, right? Again, some of this is coming from the fact they didn't play much Breeze or Icebox, but in general, you know, they aren't picking Viper on Bind, for instance. You could pick Viper on Fracture. Some teams do as well. They aren't doing that. And so they don't tend to like Viper as much as some other teams. When it comes to Chamber, though, they're all in on Chamber. You know, as you can see, we'll see if that carries on, but I suspect that it probably will, that they will be one of the teams who don't lean away from Chamber even after the nerfs. But then when it comes to what they are doing, really they are doing a lot of double duelist, as you can see. That's why Jet, Neon, and Raze all have this, you know, purple high pick rate compared to the average meta, because they play a lot of double duelist on Fracture and on Bind in particular, which again does make up a lot of the games they were playing. But yeah, they do tend to lean into that a lot more than other teams do, and they like to, you know, use Breach alongside that to set up that double duelist in a way. So, you know, they do like that explosive potential on the attacking side and kind of, you know, trusting their aggressiveness on defense as well. And they also do like Fade, as you can see, but they are kind of big out on KO and Sova, and also Sky as well. So they definitely do have favorites. When it comes to the pistols and eco rounds, though, this was something that absolutely propelled them, I think, to win the East Asian LCQ as dominantly as they did, because, I mean, these numbers are absurd, right? They're almost winning 50% of their eco rounds, which is just kind of incredible in and of itself, right? That's just an incredible feat to win so many of your ecos, and I think it just goes to show how much of a skill diff they really did have in that competition. And so that is Edward Gaming, one of the teams I'm sure most people are very, very excited to see what they can do, because they are a bit of an enigma, right? No one really knows how they will fare on the international stage against the top teams in the world, but it will be very fun and very exciting to see, I have no doubt.